So this is a follow-up to my last video about the death penalty and judicial override. Yeah, judicial override is when the jury recommends that the defendant be sentenced to life, right? And then the judge overrides that and give that defendant the death penalty. There's been debate throughout the United States back and forth over that. Do they support it? Well, as of 2017, that practice is banned all throughout the United States. It's basically unconstitutional. Judges can no longer override the jury's recommendation or the jury's sentence. They cannot do it. The issue that I'm talking about in this video, there's 25 to 30 death row inmates still existing today in 2026, right? That were under that same law. So what I'm gonna do, man, I'm gonna put a face with this. I'm gonna speak about this one individual, right? It's 25 to 30 people, but I want to bring a real person who's affected by that sentencing. And we need to hear this story because he does have an execution date coming up soon. Let me get some of this H2O. So as I mentioned, throughout the United States, every state has agreed that this practice is banned. The practice of judges overriding, the sentence that the jury recommended. Normal practice is the jury found them guilty, and then the jury is also a part of the sentencing phase, right? But it has been practiced where the judges have been overriding that until the year 2017. The state of Alabama was the last state to ban that practice. But the problem is they didn't make it retroactive. So anybody still on death row from that practice still was, may be executed. And I wanted to share the video about this individual because he has an execution date real soon, like within a month. His name is Jeffery Lee, right? I'm not talking about the crime, though I'm going to explain what he did and what he was convicted of. So in the year of 1998, Jeffery Lee evidently or allegedly committed, he was robbing, what do you call them? He was robbing a pawn shop. In the process of doing that, he killed 2 individuals. At least that's what he was convicted for, right? So that's what he's there. That was let him here in the first place. He had a date for June, what was it, June 11th? Let me get that date right. June 11th, 2026. He had a date to be executed, but they was going to use that nitrogen gas. The Supreme Court kind of, because he argued that it was, or somebody did, it was unconstitutional, cruel, and unusual punishment. So on that day at the 11th hour, he had to stay. So they couldn't do it. The governor of Alabama, right, Kay Ivey, was kind of disappointed because she wanted him to be executed. So what she did, that didn't go through. She said she put out a statement, said she was disappointed that they did not execute him. So now he has a new date for September 17th. Jeffery Lee has a new execution date for September 17th, 2026, like a little over 1 month from today, right? Or a month from today, but it's real soon. And this time it'll be by the practice of lethal injection, right? I still don't want to speed past the purpose of this video, right? I do not want to speed past. I do not want to lose the audience or my issue with this whole thing. It's like in the United States, there was a consensus to say that this practice is not right. Evidently, that's why every state has decided to ban this practice. This practice is banned in every state. So my argument would be that this individual should not be on death row because the jury recommended him to have life. To have life. They recommended a life sentence. The judge overrode that and gave him the death. So it was one man, and they really put it initially. I want to let the audience know that during these sentences, it was put in the hand of the jury, so you wouldn't have one judge be biased or emotional and kind of be emotional with his judgment, right? At least with a jury, you got a group of people discussing it and coming to an agreement of the sentence. But in my opinion, man, I think that this needs to be looked at, not only his case, but all 25 to 30 of these individuals who are sentenced to death, right, because of a judge's override. And I got to go to it again, man. It seems so common sense to me. The entire United States banned this practice. This practice is banned in the United States. And when I'm talking about the practice, I'm talking about the ability of judges being able to come in and override what the jury, right, recommended. Because remember this now, during the trial, it was the jury that convicted the individual. Now, we trusted the jury's conviction. In each of those cases, we relied on the jury because they selected to use a jury, the right to a jury, right? The Sixth Amendment. We trusted the jury to do their job in convicting or acquitting that individual. They got the conviction. Now when you go to the penalty phase, that same jury has an obligation to look at the what they call the aggravating and the mitigating circumstances surrounding the case and the individual, right? When that process took place, that jury voted to sentence Jeffery Lee to life. They gave him a life sentence. The judge came in and said, hold up, wait a minute. No, I don't agree with that. I'm giving him death. I want to say it again, man, to the audience, for everybody that's watching. This practice is banned in every state. So they banned the practice because they wanted to get things right within the judicial system. They wanted to do things right within the judicial system. If that's the case, we want to do things right, then that practice should be retroactive. I think that practice should be retroactive. Why? My question would be, why is this not retroactive? If everybody has agreed upon, the entire United States has agreed to say that this practice is banned, right? Because it don't represent the United States in fair fairness and equality and justice, why doesn't this practice be retroactive? My call to action is, or my hope is that all 25 to 30, how many ever exactly, of these individuals that's on death row, every last one of them that's on death row because of this practice should have their sentencing converted to life. It's real simple. This here situation can be fixed just like that because it's about justice, right? Best practices. So my words is, or my hope is that this individual get a stay on his date for September 17th, and they reconsider his case as well as everybody else's case, right? Because why do we even have it set up like that? Why did they have a jury? You know, why even have that? The U.S. Constitution has it because they said it was fair, right? You want to have a fair and impartial jury during the trial, whether you found innocent or guilty, and also if you're found guilty during the penalty phase, and that jury's recommendation, as we call it, should be respected and honored. It was only 4 states that held on to doing this. The last 4 states was Alabama, Delaware, Florida, and Indiana. Indiana was the first of those 4 states who stopped doing it, and Indiana stopped doing it in the year 2002. Then came in the same year, Delaware and Florida stopped it both in the year of 2016. The last state that stopped it was Alabama in 2017, but they didn't let it be retroactive. So there's still 25 to 30 individuals that may still get executed under a practice that the United States government has said, nah, it ain't right. We're banning it. So my call to action, I have no authority, but I'm gonna still speak my mind. A good H2O. My call to action is that our government, our justice system would do the right thing, right? Make this retroactive. This ain't got nothing to do with innocence or guilt. I ain't got no stake in none of these like that. But what I'm saying is, my call to action is that the justice system would do just that and show justice. Convert these sentences to life. That would be a start to show justice, right? I want to thank y'all. I want to thank y'all for the continued support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you found value in this video, I ask that you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can be notified anytime I make a video. Listen, man, just want to say it again because you can't say it enough. The U.S. justice system, do the right thing. And the right thing in this situation is converting the remainder of those individuals on death row, converting their sentences from death to life. Thank y'all once again, man. I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch this video in its entirety. Thank you, man. And listen, man, the bottom line is on the flip end, make some good decisions out there as individuals, man. Try not to put ourselves in bad situations because, as I always heard, trouble is easy to get into, but hard to get out of. Man, y'all be safe out there. Until next time, peace.